Peace, family. This is your brother, Mr. Holipsism, here to do a movie review of Kick-Ass 2. Now, Kick-Ass 2 is the follow-up to the cult classic Kick-Ass, which I really liked. That was one of those movies that pleasantly surprised me. I went there not expecting much and was actually pretty much blown away. There was a lot of stuff in there that I thought was really done well. And any movie with Nicolas Cage in it, I'm kind of reluctant about seeing. It's not because Nicolas Cage is bad or anything. It's just that I'm tired of him, and it's like he plays the same guy over and over again to me. He was in that first Kick-Ass movie, and he was actually not bad. Like he didn't stand out like a sore thumb. It didn't turn into a Nicolas Cage movie. He actually played a good character in that movie, and I was impressed by it. Um, the standout character in the first Kick-Ass movie was Hit Girl, and her name in the movie, the character is Mindy McCready, and is played by the actress Chloe Grace Moretz. And I'm really impressed by this young lady as an actress. She's getting ready to play Carrie in the remake of Carrie, and I think she's going to do excellent in that. And I think you should keep your eye on her in terms of being like one of the top actresses in the game. And she's only a teenager, but she's got a lot of skills, and you get to see some of that in Kick-Ass 2. Now, Kick-Ass 2, I don't know if you didn't see the first Kick-Ass, there might be some spoilers in here. So, and I also suggest you go see it if you have not seen it. But when we last saw Hit Girl and Kick-Ass, who's played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, his character, he plays the character of Kick-Ass, and whose real name in the movie is Dave Lizuski or something. I don't know, one of them, but he's Dave. When we saw them, they were trying to live as normal teenagers, Mindy and Dave. With graduation looming and uncertain what to do, Dave decides to start the world's first superhero team with Mindy. They kind of both been in retirement for a little bit after that last episode. And Mindy, after her father was Big Daddy. She was left with her guardian, who's played by Morris Chestnut. Morris Chestnut is trying to keep her out of crime and out of crime fighting, and trying to have her go to high school and just be a normal teenager. Unfortunately, when she's busted for sneaking out as Hit Girl, she's forced to retire by, Morris Chestnut's character, leaving her to navigate the terrifying world of high school mean girls on her own. With no one left to turn to, Dave joins forces with Justice Forever, a group he inspired with Kick-Ass, and run by a born-again ex-mobster named Colonel Stars and Stripes, played by Jim Carrey. Just as they start to make a real difference in the streets, the world's first supervillain, Red Mist, who was the hero. Well, he wasn't really a hero in the first movie, but that was his hero name. He was the son of the mobster who was going to infiltrate into Kick-Ass group to try to, get information on him in the first movie. Well, Red Mist is now reborn as the Motherfucker. That's his name, the Motherfucker. And when you see the movie, you'll know why. The Motherfucker assembles his own evil league and puts a plan in motion to make Kick-Ass and Hit Girl pay for what they did to his dad, which was kill him. In the first movie, they killed his father. Kick-Ass did. He blew him up with a rocket launcher. Now, overall, I like this movie. Overall, this movie was entertaining. Overall, the movie was funny. They had a lot of nice little Easter eggs in there, a lot of guest star appearances that I thought they pulled off pretty well. The only, I wouldn't say problem, but the thing that separates this movie from Kick-Ass, well, first let me just say this, it's not on the same level as Kick-Ass, which was kind of disappointing to me. Not that I didn't expect it, because I was really reluctant about seeing this movie and excited about seeing it at the same time, because I hate it when they replace people who did it right. In the first movie, the director was Matthew Vaughn, and the person who wrote the screenplay was Jane Goldman, based off the comic book by Mark Miller. And they pulled it off very, very well. Like, I really am a fan of that first Kick-Ass movie. This movie was done by Jeff Wadlow, and Jeff Wadlow's previous movie was Never Back Down. Uh, so now you know what I'm talking about. It wasn't like that was something that would make me go, yeah, that's the guy I want for the job. And I was really reluctant and scared about seeing this movie because they didn't have the original people behind it. He didn't do a bad job. The only thing I would say is that he played it pretty much by the numbers. The first movie was not played by the numbers. The first movie was really unapologetic and really stuck to the source material and wasn't politically correct. I mean, Hit Girl was a really young girl who was played the daughter of Big Daddy that was played by Nicolas Cage. She would curse. She was really like handled as an adult, and a lot of people had a problem with that from the first movie. It's one of the things that I actually loved about the first movie is that they were able to do that character and not make it so mainstream and watered down. And that's why I like the first movie. But in this movie, it seems like they just went mainstream with the entire concept. And that's the main difference between this movie and the first movie. I wouldn't say that it was bad, but it was by the numbers. Tonally, it was different because a lot of the scenes take place in the daytime, which was a really odd choice to me when you're doing a superhero movie, especially a superhero movie where people are fighting crime at night. There was a lot of, it was very light. The mood and the tone of the movie was light. Um, Kick-Ass itself, the first movie, was kind of dark. Like, like take for example, what they deal with is what would happen in a situation in real life if somebody decided to play a superhero. So this guy dresses up in his costume, and he goes out and he decides he's going to fight crime. And the first time he has an incident, he gets stabbed and he ends up in a hospital because they beat the shit out of him. So like that right there set the tone for the movie. So the movie was kind of dark. It was kind of realistic, and it came across as really, really innovative the way that they handled that. In this movie, it was almost as if just in terms of technique and style, this could have been done as a made-for-TV movie. And I hate to say that because that really makes me feel like I'm trashing it, but I'm comparing it to the first one, which you can't help but do because it's the sequel. And the first one was so good, that's the bar. If you can't live up to the bar, I mean, I'm just calling it like it is. Um, it was funny. It had a lot of this movie was funny. It had a lot of good moments in there. Like I said, um, action wise, I don't feel it was on the same level creatively and camera wise. It was not on the same level as Kick Ass. Um, Meaning there was nothing in this movie that was the equivalent of the strobe light scene with Big Daddy and Hit Girl, where he's shouting out instructions to her when they kidnapped him and she's coming to rescue him. It's nothing on that level because I remember when I first saw that in the first Kick-Ass, that little sequence there was probably one of the best sequences I had seen in a movie for that year. That's how good it was. And also the sequence when she went after Big Daddy dies, she goes to avenge his death by going against the mob boss and all of his henchmen and his house. That was another well shot sequence, and the fighting choreography was much better in that movie than it was in this one. Um, with all that said, I wasn't disappointed in terms. While I was watching the movie, I was invested in it, and I followed it. It was done good. It was done well. It just was not done on the same creative level as Kick-Ass. So I would say if you're going to see this movie, see it in a matinee. Don't pay full price. I hate to say it. I'm not saying that it was bad. You definitely won't go to see this movie and say, "Oh, that shit sucked." No, you're gonna have a good time. It's funny. It's a lot of really funny stuff in there too. A lot of nice special appearances. You got John Leguizamo in there. You got Morris Chestnut in there. They had one by the guy from Game of Thrones who plays Daenerys Khaleesi's right hand man. He was in there for a nice little scene. As a matter of fact, that scene between him and the motherfucker who's played by Christopher Mintz-Plasse was a really good scene. Like I like that scene in this movie. You know, it was a really short scene. His character had a little, um, a small role, but a very, very impactful role. Um, Jim Carrey was very good in it, but don't go expecting to see a Jim Carrey Tour de France. He had a very small role in the movie. You know, he played Colonel Stars and Stripes. He was very effective in the role. He didn't take away from it. He added to it, but it's nothing over the top. He played it good. You know what I'm saying? Overall, I give it a good rating. What I will say is that if you're gonna see it, I would suggest seeing it at a matinee instead of paying full price. That's my only thing. Like, movies are costing so much nowadays that I'm not gonna say go see a movie and spend, damn near $20 when you can take that money and do something else. You know, it's a nice movie, it's good. If you see it, you're gonna enjoy it, but you don't have to go rushing to the theaters. All right. So I'll talk to you good people later. Peace.